Ray Spaxman is the architect and planner with over 50 years experience in planning and urban design. Ray was appointed Director of Planning for the City of Vancouver in 1973. During his 15 years with the City of Vancouver, Ray assisted successive city councils in leading the planning efforts of the city. He helped establish the public participation and community engagement in planning in Vancouver, and initiated the city's unique development approvals processes and produced plans for most of the city.
The thing that strikes me is how outdated the attitude is to planning. It's quite frightening to see a single expert expounding on the future of the city, with apparently no reference to citizens, no reference to process, no reference to wondering what the values of the community are. But you have a three-dimensional idea, and that idea is formed into a plan. And then this young man, who is after one of our most famous architects, then pronounces from the television set about how wonderful everything is. And we're all expected to go, oh yeah, and of course the process is much more complicated than that. We live in planning is the most complicated thing there is. Planning a city is the most complicated thing there is, because the city consists of the environment, that's all the nature and the habitat. It consists of the places that the people create. It's the people themselves, and that's a bit complicated. And then there's the processes that those people employ in order to make their decisions through the democratic processes. And you wouldn't get a sense that much of that is happening from looking at that movie. And so things have changed. As you know, these days you can't do that, and therefore you don't make as many mistakes. You don't have grandiose ideas which have been tested amongst colleagues, and the synergy of all the experts that live and work in the city. And so I'm quite relieved to find that that plan didn't happen. Vestiges that were being done when I arrived in 1973, and the courthouse development, as John says, that still retained some of those elements. And of course there was still the debate over the crossings, the second crossing, the third crossing, and the ultimate crossing, and the ring roads and all that sort of stuff that went on. And even the sense, you know, that the desperation that the new council felt that they had to have a pedestrian concourse when they arrived drove them in their 2 years to force Granville Mall on us. And that was one of those vestiges from the past which hadn't been worked out in terms of the city system. And so the whole process is what makes for the livability of Vancouver today, which is the process of engaging people, of informing them before decisions are made, for involving them in the decision making, and therefore becoming much more of a place that represents the opinions of the people of the city, rather than just the expert or just another group of people whose consultation we need to have, and their advice, but they shouldn't dominate like they used to do. Sort of thing.
Anything else you wanted to say right now?
Yes.
Why don't you just take a...
I've got half an hour or 2 minutes.
You can address something moderately, slowly.
It's not about architecture anyway, quite honestly. There are lots of architects, and lots of brilliant architects. There will be more brilliant architects. What is it to do with a partnership? The partnership is between the architects and the engineers and the other experts who build and design buildings. And it's a partnership with the community who develop their policies and wishes and goals. And it's then a partnership with the officials, which are the people who are elected, and the people who are then appointed by the elected people to try and find the public purpose in everything. And it's the integration of those things that creates the plans for the city. It's not an architect, it's not an engineer, it's not a politician, it's the partnership. And the miracle that has happened, I believe, in Vancouver is that partnership has been relatively successful, but it has so much further to go. And we noticed that just the other night, and that's that Wednesday thing again, that some components of that partnership are underestimated in terms of their value. So we know about architecture, we know about buildings, we know about the politics of things. What we don't know is how to integrate and get the synergy between the social, the environmental, and the economic. Whereas universities spend an inordinate amount of time and money, and the society does, in trying to break the genome or find the DNA, if we put some of those resources into trying to find the way to integrate all those pressures into the way we design our cities, I think we'd have a much better product than we God, although we've done very well here, and we are fairly unusual in Vancouver and having a great deal of synergy through all the people who participate in it. Quick comment, you've just reminded me of something, and you put it very well, and that is, just as the iconic architect is wrong, so is the principles of the way we're handling the problems of today is wrong, in a similar way, like the iconic architect wants to stand out and be different. And so we find the language of our society is one of, we need more of everything. And if we have more of everything, then we're successful. In fact, the whole opposite of that is true. The more we have a population, the more we have a profit, the more we have a productivity, the more we have a purchasing, the more we have a television, the more we have, the more we have, the more we have, the worse it seems to be getting. So we're facing a revolution, in my judgment, like the agricultural revolution, the industrial revolution, the communication revolution. We're in the middle of one, and I hope we do it well.